Okay, hello everybody. I'm going to go ahead and do my little screen sharing here. I'm a little new to screen sharing, so forgive me. Okay, so my name is Anne Marie Rowe. I am with well, when I normally introduce myself in H7 and Evolve, I'm with Norwex. But actually, here I'm going to be talking about blogging. And so I'm with chaosisbliss.com. I founded that in 2010, October of 2010, so almost 10 years ago. And then about 5 years ago, I started a second blog. For those that might be in the blogging industry, or if you know people in the blogging industry, one is never enough. It's kind of like a pair of shoes or something. So there's always like ideas floating around in my head on, starting a new blog and stuff. But I think I've got plenty on my plate right now, so I'm good with that. Okay, so many of you may have your own blog already that you share with just friends and family, or perhaps it's part of your business website. I'm coming at this from the perspective of being a blogger. I wouldn't say full-time. It was a part-time career when I was a stay-at-home mom when my kids were little. It started sharing coupons and deals. So that was kind of the passion that I had, was saving money and telling all my friends, like, you wouldn't believe what a great deal I got on this. And I started following a couple of frugal bloggers or deal bloggers. And I thought, you know what, I think I would like to do this. And so that's how I got started in blogging. And then a few years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I was watching where my traffic was coming from, and it wasn't coming for the coupons and things like that were expiring, quickly. They were coming for the recipes and things like that have an everlasting shelf life. And so I transitioned to a lifestyle format like about 4 or 5 years ago. And so that's where it is now, although it's very low on my priority list now. I am also a freelance social media manager for a small PR firm here in the Indianapolis area. So things that I am going to be telling you today, it's based a lot on what I know from 10 years in blogging, also from a few courses that I have purchased and gone through. And just my own research and connecting and networking with other bloggers, and joining Facebook groups that are for the niche that my blog was in. And I don't know everything, and but I'm more than happy to share with you what I know. And so that's kind of just wanted to give you that preface on how we're getting started with this. Okay, so 3 things to ask yourself before publishing your first blog post, or not your first blog post, but before you're going to actually hit the publish button. 3 things you want to ask yourself is my blog post optimized for SEO? Does my post include both internal and external links? And does it have, a hero image? Okay, and so we're going to be talking about each of those. Okay, optimizing for SEO. So SEO stands for search engine optimization, and that is basically where your blog, where your website, where your blog post lands within Google's rankings. How far into the number of pages when someone does a Google search for whatever you're writing about, how many pages back do you land? Everybody's goal is to be on page 1 of Google. And so there are some things that you can do to strategize and try to increase your page rank for Google. And so one of the tips is to research trends. So I have an example, so research trends for a blog post that you might want to write. So let's say that you have a business, a dog walking business, and you might think about posts as you're researching, things that you see in the news or that you're hearing is a new trend. So like there might be a new, like a light up leash that you could write a post about that's talking about the safety factor of having this light up leash for, you know, dogs when you're doing your dog walking. Or it could be changes in laws for walking dogs, a leash law or something where you live, or it could be a new dog park in town. Okay, so those are all things that you can research ahead of time or kind of be paying attention to when you see something that you think, you know what, this might be something someday. So I'm going to go ahead and get on the forefront of it and write a post about it now so that you can rank higher later when people start to Google that, right? Research the keywords, but don't keyword stuff. So what that means is, in the example about a dog walking business, in your description on your website, there is actually, it's called a meta, M-E-T-A, meta description. It's certainly advisable to say that, you know, if you're looking for a dog walker in the Fishers, Indiana area, blah, 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 blah. But you don't want to continue using those same words in a different, you know, in a different way, like 4 or 5 times within one description. That's called keyword stuffing, and Google does that like that. You do want to put your keywords into the title of your blog post. So here is an example that I have here with the red X. So there are some ways, so I blog on the WordPress platform, and so that's all that I know about. So unfortunately, I don't know about Wix and some of the others. But if you can control the permalink, so that's where it says http://cleanchaos, blah, blah. That is your permalink. So that is what you know, when people are going to share it or whatever, that's the link. It's called a permalink. If you can control what it says, you know, in WordPress, I know you can, you want to have your keywords in that permalink, okay? Try not to have it say like the date or something. So you see in the green check down below, so this is an example, my keywords for a blog post that I wrote on cleanchaos.com was, I don't even remember the title of it, honestly, but basically how to compost was the keyword phrase that I was using. And then so the blog title would be cleanchaos.com/how to compost. So when someone goes to Google and they are searching in learn how to compost, they're getting that keyword phrase, how to compost, okay? And so it's being attached to my blog post, and that's going to help give my website and that post authority and relevance with Google. Additionally, your file names, so like your images that you're going to use. So in this example for learning how to compost, I actually went to, a friend of mine is a master gardener. She had certification through Purdue University, taking all these classes, and she composts. And so I went to her and I interviewed her and I took lots of pictures of her tumbler and you know, all these different things that she uses to, you know, turn it. And she has a little kitchen composting bin, and so all these things. And so all of those images, I'm also labeling how to compost and then something else. So I might use the word main, like in this example I have here, and that will be kind of my hero image, my main image. I might do an SQ at the end for a square image, and I could share that to Instagram. Okay, so that's just the point about that is when you have researched your keyword phrases, try to kind of incorporate them in these areas. Okay, linking internally and externally. Okay, what that means is internal links are linking to your own articles, web pages that are within your website, linking to them within your blog post. And you want to try to do it as naturally, like organically as possible. Instead of saying, click here to learn about, I'm trying to think of an example, but click here to learn about, you know, dog walking in Fishers or whatever. Instead of using the words click here and you're linking to that, use the phrase dog walking and fishers and hyperlink that to your main page or to whatever. I hope that makes sense. External links are where you're linking externally to another resource or another article that you read about, or another blogger who maybe has a comparable or maybe a product that relates to yours, but you don't sell that product, so it's not really a competitor. So those are external links, and that is always really good for Google. You really want to have a combination of internal and external links. So here I have an example. This is from my Chaos is Bliss blog, where it was a sponsored post through Cricut, the vinyl cutter machine. So the example here is the external link is that I'm linking to the Explorer Air 2, that's the machine, so that's linking to Cricut's website. And then I linked this other phrase, consider myself a beginner with Cricut. Now there, I'm not really doing what I'm telling you to do. Like, I didn't exactly link to a keyword phrase, but it's linking to one of my own posts where I do talk about beginner, being a beginner for Cricut, as a Cricut user. So that's just a little example of external versus internal links, and that's in the same sentence right there. Okay, your hero image. So your hero image, for me, my hero images are always vertical. So I do one main vertical image because Pinterest is really huge for a traffic driver for my websites. It totally depends on your brand and your business and what makes sense for you. So if you're an insurance agent, Pinterest may not be the best platform for you. I wouldn't advise not to use it, but your main social media platform I would think would be LinkedIn, maybe Twitter, maybe. But for me and my blogs, Pinterest is what's a big traffic driver. And so this is an example on the left, the blueberry pie, that is from Chaos is Bliss. So vertical image, you try to have a really great photo for your hero image. You want something that's going to draw people in, even if it's on LinkedIn or whatever. Having a great image. Ideally, you took the photo yourself or you paid a photographer to take it yourself. I try as much as I can to stay away from stock photography. For me, it's too much to keep track of, like, where did I get permission to use this? And always make sure that you are looking for royalty-free images. There are some very reputable websites that offer royalty-free images, but that is, so if you want to remember that, royalty-free stock images might be a phrase that you can Google to find sources for that. And then on the right, this is for Clean Chaos. So on these images, you can see I've got the title, and then I brand myself. So on Chaos is Bliss, I didn't put my logo because I change that every few years. I change the look of my logo, but the URL is still the same. And then on the right, so this is not necessarily a blog post to try to sell this product. I'm trying to provide a service to people who may already have the product. And so because this is kind of a unique hand towel, it like winds around your towel bar and then hangs there, I was trying to think of what would people Google? Well, they might Google how to hang a chenille hand towel. And so that's why I wanted to make sure that that title was on my hero image, so that when people are scrolling through Facebook, or through Pinterest, they might see that and be like, oh yeah, I've got one of those and I don't know how to hang it. So they may click through. Okay, so 3 things to do after you hit the publish button. First of all, link that new blog post internally where it makes sense. So we already talked about internal links. Now you've got a new blog post. You need to look back on your other blog posts. Where does it make sense that I'm talking about this topic? And then I can go back in, edit those, and link to this new blog post, okay? So you're kind of giving yourself some link juice. Share to social media, of course. That's kind of a no-brainer, and we're gonna dig into that more on the next slide. And email to your database. And I will also expand on this in just a minute too. And I'm going to clarify, for sake of time, I only listed 3 things to do after publishing. There could be a whole laundry list. And that's, again, you could just go to your friend Google and say what to do after publishing a blog post. There's a lot more, in-depth things that you can do to promote your blog. But these are the 3 that I think are going to make most sense for you all. Okay, so sharing to social media. Which platforms make sense? So this is something that I talked about before. For me, Pinterest is my biggest traffic driver, and so that's the first place that I share. And when I say first place, it all pretty much, I do it in the same day, even in the same, 30 minutes or something. But I make sure that I have a good hero image, and I share that link on Pinterest. Instagram. So with that, of course, you want a square image. Otherwise, it's going to give you like the white on the top and the bottom. So we're not going to get a whole lot about images, but when you are creating images for your blog post, do a variety of sizes. Do pictures where there's a lot of white space around your focused, product or whatever, so that you can crop it to square or crop it to, horizontal or whatever. So a lot of times when I'm creating my vertical Pinterest image, I have a lot of white space, and then I can, just chop it off like right here, move my text down, shrink it down a little bit, and then move it down. And then I have my horizontal images, which I use for Facebook and Twitter. I don't share much on LinkedIn for my blogs. It's just not something that I've really gotten into too much. I have a presence on there, but I just don't do much on that with my blogs. Use engaging content. So think about what is going to make people talk about your blog. You might ask a question that's relevant to what you're going to be talking about. You might give a little teaser or even an excerpt, like a 1 or 2 line excerpt from your blog post as kind of a teaser into what you're talking about. Yeah, asking questions is always good, as long as it's not, it's kind of like when you're, I don't know, on a date or something, and you're like, you don't want to ask like yes or no questions. You want to like make them actually talk. And so, so you can, and that's another thing you can Google also, is like engaging questions on social media, social media posts, engaging questions. And then watch the banned words. And I will talk about that on the next slide. Excuse me. Okay, so, and then upload the image first. Okay, so in your blog post, at least, again, this is with WordPress, you can have a featured image. So when you're writing your post, you scroll down, and then there is a box that says featured image. And so usually you would want that to be a horizontal image. And so that becomes your featured image. Well, when that is your featured image, if you just share the link over on Facebook or Twitter, and then you hit the post button, it will automatically pull in that featured image. And that's fine. That's easy. It's quick. But what I have found is Facebook, speaking strictly for Facebook, it will deliver it to more news feeds if you upload the image first, or a video. If you upload the image first, and then like write your text, and then like paste in the link, instead of having that link auto pull your featured image. Okay. So that's that. Okay. Oh, okay. So this is, okay, this is an example. This little graphic is an example of banned words, and I get into a couple more on the next slide. Try to avoid, if you can, using things like percentages and dollar signs and coupon. Like there's this whole list of words. And also you want to try not to tell people to tag a friend or comment below or share this, and instead use language that is asking them to do the same thing, but you're not really using those words. So another example would be, instead of saying save 50% with this coupon code, you can say save those pennies, or something similar. And then instead of saying tag a friend, blah, 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 you can say, who do you know that needs to know about, who do you know that walks dogs late at night and they might need a light up leash? Ways that you can kind of reframe your languages to avoid these banned words. So here are some of the banned words. This is not, when I say banned, it's not like literally banned, like Facebook will not, will reject your post. It's not that. It's just words that over time, some Facebook experts that I follow have, done the research and they've done the A/B testing. And these are words that are like, they trigger Facebook to say, oh, this is spammy. We want Facebook to be about community and, really valuable content and not free. This is a hot deal, that kind of stuff. And so underneath this, it's some other ways that you can reframe those words so that you're not exactly saying it. So don't wait on this one, make your wallet happy, snag this while you can. So that kind of thing. Okay. All right. And then email to your database. So you own your own email list. Okay. When you start collecting those emails from people that opt in to your, website program, your email program, I give a couple examples next. You will own that forever. So if any of these social media platforms go away tomorrow, I mean, it's happened and it could happen any day. And if you lose that ability to reach, your Facebook followers or whatever, just know that you own your database. And so you can always reach them through that. And it's going directly to their email inbox. Okay. MailChimp is what I use. They have a free plan up to a certain number of subscribers. And Mad Mimi is another one I've used in the past for a client, and that starts at just $10 a month. And of course, these have bigger plans depending on your database. Angel, how am I doing on time? Okay, good. About 5 minutes. Okay. Okay, so if you're on WordPress, you can use a widget, and I didn't pull a picture in. A widget would be like let's say in your sidebar, and it's join the community or join my email newsletter, and have these articles delivered to your mailbox once a week or once a month or whatever. That would be a widget, and it would link to your MailChimp or whatever to sign people up for it. There's also, I like this WordPress plugin. It's got a funny name, but it's WWSGD. So it's What Would Seth Godin Do? That's the name of this plugin. And you've probably seen it on other blogs if you're a blog follower, but it's when you visit a site for the first time, or maybe up to like 5 times, it'll say, if you're new here, you might want to subscribe to our RSS feed or whatever. So it's kind of this blanket message that is like right at the top. And then it's triggered like after the 5th time, then it'll go away. There's one that I use here. Here's what it looks like. I use this on Clean Chaos, and this is sumo.com, and it's another newsletter opt-in. Excuse me. So this is right at the top of my website. So it's kind of visible, but it's also kind of out of the way. Okay, so I've got a couple of blogging resources for you. Like I said, I'm kind of self-taught. I've taken only a couple of courses because I'm the queen of like signing up for a course because I think it's fabulous, and they like pull me in with their marketing, and then I don't do anything with it. So unfortunately, I don't do a whole lot of those because I'm telling myself not to do that anymore. But amylynnandrews.com is a really great how to start a blog. Becomeablogger.com. Leslie Samuels, I have met him. I met him at a blogging conference, oh gosh, probably 8 years ago. He is fabulous, and he's Jamaican. He's got a fabulous accent. So it's really, he's got a great podcast also. Neil Patel, another, like these are people who they blog about blogging. Okay. And so they're 3 really great resources that I always recommend. And then I just wanted to recommend this podcast. It's Social Media Marketing with Michael Stelzner, and you can find it through socialmediaexaminer.com. That's one that I always make sure to listen to. And at the beginning of his podcast, like like the first 5 minutes, he has, I can't remember the guy's name, but he has like a guest on, it's kind of like a regular guest, who always talks about like one quick tip, like an app or an app for your phone or something like that. And I always love those like quick little, a new kind of technology or something that he comes on with. Let's see. And I think that's everything I want to talk about. So this is my screen. Ways that you can find me and follow me on my various social media channels. And I will leave it up there and for any questions.
Wonderful. Thank you, Anne Marie.
You're welcome. So let me get over here and stop.
Good job.